Welcome to How.ai, the podcast featuring real people, real stories, and real AI in action. Hi, I'm Brooke Raymer, your host and guide on this journey of the real-world impact of artificial intelligence. For over 15 years, I've worked in creative marketing, events, and business strategy, wearing all the hats. I know the struggle of trying to scale and manage all things without burning out. But here's the game changer, AI. This isn't just a podcast. How.ai is a community, a space where curious minds like you come together, share ideas, and I'll also bring exclusive discounts and insider resources because AI isn't just a trend, it's a shift. And the sooner we embrace it, the more freedom, creativity, and opportunities we'll unlock. How.ai is brought to you in partnership with the Collective AI, a space designed to accelerate your learning and AI adoption. I joined the Collective and it's completely catapulted my learning, expanded my network, and showed me what's possible with AI. Whether you're just starting out, seeking community, or want done-for-you solutions, the Collective gives you the resources to grow your business with AI. Today's episode is extra special because I'm kicking off with an incredible guest, Jonathan Foltz. He's an entrepreneur and AI enthusiast who has been experimenting with AI tools to optimize his business and scale his workflow for way longer than most of us. We talk about practical ways AI is being used right now, and I promise you'll walk away with ideas on how to integrate AI into your own life. So let's dive in. I'm your host, Brooke Raymer, marketing executive and AI enhancement consultant. Today I have Mr. Jonathan Foltz, and he is the co-founder of the Collective AI, the community I first got into a little over a year ago, and it really catapulted my AI journey. I'm going to give him the floor to introduce himself and take it away.
All right. So I'm 100% excited to be here, Brooke, especially because you were like an early person in this community that we had, which was a fork of one of our other communities that we ended up selling. Mm-hmm. And I love to see when people get into AI and they really start to see it expand their horizons, give them new ideas. And you were actually one of them, which actually really took hold to it very well and keenly. And now here you are with your own podcast with a genius idea. When you told me it, I was like, wow, this is actually really good. And I was super psyched up to see what you're going to be doing with it.
Yeah, absolutely.
So I'm excited for this, first and foremost. Secondly, a little bit about myself. So just my background, a lot of people would call me a futurist, philosopher, digital frontiersman. Over 35 companies now. I've always loved technology, e-commerce, and education. And one of the reasons that we did the Collective was because we knew how fast artificial intelligence was going to change everything. Mm-hmm. And people don't know, but actually the Collective is a technology company. We just so happen to have the education part, the membership club, and events to help us hyper accelerate and bring together amazing people just like yourself.
Yes. The whole point of this podcast is because I started really immersing myself in the world of AI. And it almost feels like this lonely journey where you are just diving deep. There's not really a whole lot of structure of what you can get into, what there is out there, and it can be a bit overwhelming. And I find that when I speak to people day to day to hear what they're learning and how they're using it, I get expanded in so many ways of, wow, I didn't think that I could do this that way. Or, oh, here's a new tool I haven't heard of. So that's really the use case around this podcast. And I want to really encourage people to not be anxious to get into using AI and be motivated by their peers, essentially. So I would love to hear first about you and when you started getting into AI. How long ago was it? What was that initial moment?
So I would say the initial moment was, I'm not going to call it artificial intelligence. The first period of time where I started learning about what will be happening with AI was through a gentleman named Ray Kurzweil. And that was probably almost 20 years ago, probably like 15 years ago. And he was talking about, he has a book called The Singularity is Near. And when I first saw what he was talking about, he wanted to live forever. And he's talking about these AI things and exponential technologies and exponential organizations. And it really started to hit me where, whoa, things are going to come so quickly, but when is this going to happen? So I started diving into exponential shifts. And from there, I was always obsessed with the internet. So I had worked with the Secretary of Defense of Mexico back in like 2012, and they were doing all kinds of very cool AI stuff. Nothing like what we have today, but it was more like machine learning, and they had some of the top technologists working on some really cool projects I can't talk about. But that's where I started to be like, whoa, what's available behind the scenes versus what's public is way different. That was my first synopsis with, holy smokes, we're not even aware of how crazy these technologies are. And that was back then. That was like 12, 13, 14 years ago. So I could only imagine like what is really existing behind the scenes now. So I got very interested in being able to yield these technologies to the highest degree. Also, I'm a time hacker. So being a time hacker, I'm always trying to find that next edge, that next growth hack, that next thing that can help me be able to do substantially more. So if I was a time hacker before, what would happen with artificial intelligence? So when I really started to dive deeper into it, after I saw those things, would probably be around, I think it was 2020, 2021, the GPT models were coming out, and I was talking with a couple of my buddies, and we're just like, whoa, what you're able to do with these transformers, these AIs is really cool. It wasn't until November of 2022 when ChatGPT came out, and then that's when I was like, I thought that wasn't going to happen for at least till 2025 or 2028. And when that came out, that's when I was like, I was part of the public company, I was leading the acquisition strategy and one of the companies, and that's the moment in time I decided I have to get into this and I have to go all in, and I decided to sell one of my companies and to step down from the public company to go all in with AI.
Go all in with AI. Wow, and that really wasn't that long ago, and look at where we are now. At the time of this podcast, we're recording this, it's February 2025. I think that's really important to share because who knows what things will be when this airs and when people are tuning in. I got into AI probably 2 years ago, and it was just learning about it on Instagram, and I have done everything just self-taught to the point where I was really seeking workshops and community around it. And it was such a blessing to find the collective here in Miami. And it's amazing that you do weekly workshops, and it's just accessible through the chats and seeing how other people are doing it. And what I've learned is the term tech stack or technology stack. So that's my next question for you. I'm sure a lot of people are dying to hear, what is Jonathan's tech stack?
There's a lot of people that always ask me this question, even so much so that we turned it into a product, which we call like AI Enhanced. What I like to call it is that there is no one size fits all because there's so many different AI tools out there on people's stack. But for me, myself, like I've customized a lot of the solutions. So within my stack itself, obviously there's the normal stuff. I love to be able to record calls, and I've done a lot of automations from just Otter. So simple as can be, even right now, which I should be recording this right now, but is Otter. If I sit down in a room, I'm going to record the conversation. And based on the conversation, I can have a preset set to send me an email, send me a summary, and then I can just talk to it. Whenever I get on my Zoom calls, it's always being recorded by Otter. Obviously, the other side knows this. And I can have an auto set to send me exactly what I need to do, what has been talked about. And a lot of times I actually go take those conversations. Let's say that I'm even having a consulting thing done. A lot of people actually don't know, but we have an agency that's very secretive. Hardly anyone knows about it because we don't display it to the public, called the Viral Gorilla. And what I do is, let's say I was talking with a very high-end client. I know everything that needs to be there. I used to have my EA in these meetings. I no longer have to have my EA in these meetings. And not only do I not have to have an EA, I can be much more present because I don't have to take notes. So I go ahead and I grab that, and I actually created a GPT to create proposals. Okay, so I literally take what happened on the meeting, give it minor context, put it into my GPT, proposal is done. So that's just one of the various ones that we have in the tech stack.
I have a feeling you might have some more that you want to share. So let's dig a little bit deeper. Tell me more about not only the technology that you've created yourself, but the software solutions and products that you're really enjoying using on a day-to-day basis.
So Obviously, at the end of the day, we have created custom GPTs. So there's 100 of them. So that's part of my stack. But now with some of the new tools that have come out, that recently have come out, there is Operator. So Operator, though we're at the very beginning stages of it, it is quite expensive. I have a feeling they're going to bring down the price. I don't know if they will. It's like a couple $100. It goes and takes action for you. And it's really good for doing research and being able to find things and then taking action, which is the beginning stages of actual agents itself. Secondly, we're using like a couple different platforms to create autonomous AI agents. One of them is called Top Hat. Another one is AI16Z through something called Eliza. And another one, they all kind of function in a different manner, in a different way. And then Virtuals is the other one. So these are actually, and this is the beginning stage. This is why I say it, because it's important. I like to get into stuff when I know where it's going.
Yeah.
And these autonomous agents are going out and taking action. And that's why Operator is so cool within the OpenAI. That's the more mainstream one. And then when you go to the Web3 world, which I love the Web3 world, then you have those other autonomous agents, which are really good. There's also Google AI Studio, which can go in with you. And it's kind of like almost you have an AI on the side that's speaking to you. And you could go into pages and it could tell you what to do, what to go next. Hey, I'm on a Shopify site building this up right now. What can I do to this? So literally you have a customer service representative next to you for everything that you do. That one's really cool. That one's in beta, or I think it
Is
just
that one called Gemini?
So it's an AI studio, but it's different than Gemini.
Okay.
And it's there by your side and it speaks to you as you go through. So it's watching your screen as you go through everything that you do. So if you want a customer service representative to help you go do something that you don't know how to do, boom, that one's quite important to do. So that's another tech stack component that I think is really important, because we're little by little, we want to have these co-pilots that can help us with anything and everything, and they're highly beneficial. And then when it comes to the art stuff, I obviously am very keen to MidJourney when you're creating actual images. There's a lot of companies that do different things, but that one's really good. And then I would say Hailu and Suno when it comes to the video images, Minimax, and there's another one called Kling. So Kling and Hailu are probably the two best ones, better than Sora, better than Runway. Some people might think not, but those are very mainstream. These have come out of nowhere. So actually China is doing a crazy job of coming after these US-based companies because they're the master replicators and they're doing some pretty insane stuff that is helping us to a high degree. So this is another reason we're actually creating an app called Bubble GPT that we're going to be able to talk to all these different AI systems just by speaking to it as an agent, as a CEO or as a project manager or as your concierge, and it's going to grab all those for you to be able to bring them to market, which is going to be quite cool.
Any chance that I can just speak to something is how I prefer. I install a Chrome extension for microphone so I can just speak to all of my apps and it types out for me.
Oh, way better.
Yeah, it's the best way to be able to do that. Hot tip.
Yeah, one that started that way that I love, and I love just regular conversations, is Pi and Pi.ai. So brainstorming. And then I do same like you. I love the speaking component. So I allow it to speak back to me. I don't use the speaking component within it. I use my keyboard, actual speaking. So I speak into it through my keyboard and then it speaks back to me. And I think it's called Pi 5, which is the British voice. I love the
I use British voice too.
The British voice is so much better. And that one's cool for searching things and brainstorming. It's really good, even sometimes more than ChatGPT.
All right. I'm so glad we have a more inside look on what goes on Jonathan's day-to-day, because so many of us in the community have been dying to know.
Yeah, 100%.
Well, just to share my tech stack, it's not very big yet, but when I first started using ChatGPT, that was a big opener for me. I also used Claude by Anthropic. Really, I use ChatGPT every day, and I'm really into the custom GPTs. Why reinvent the wheel if somebody has already created something that I can use every day? I'm at the point where I'm playing around with creating my own custom ones, my own assistants, my own agents. Definitely gaining momentum and confidence and learning every day. Another technology tool I like to use is called 11 Labs. And that one is a way to read articles. And so anything, if it's longer than 2 paragraphs, I'm not reading it. I throw it in 11 Labs and it gives you a podcast style interview of what you're reading. So there's been a lot of new advancements and things coming out with AI, and there's all these articles and publishings and findings and reports and really important things coming out that are pages and pages long. I just throw it into 11 Labs and I have them read it to me in 5 to 7 minutes, which is one of my favorite things because I love to digest information and be caught up on all these trends and everything coming through. So I believe in keeping it simple, stupid. There's a method of saying that, and too many tools is just going to overwhelm you, and to find what works for you. All right, tell me a little bit more about your businesses. So look behind the hood. I can imagine you've had to completely restructure the way that you think and you operate as an entrepreneur, as a business owner, even from managing your data to completely restructuring your day-to-day to use these tools and placement of people. Operationally, how does that look compared to what it did 5 to 10 years ago?
Oh, yeah, big time. Just adding conversation to this tech stack and then answering that question. One of the things that I tell people when they're getting into it, and one of the things I realized just a few months ago, actually, I already knew it was happening, but I make it a good staple, is that you will no longer think the same. Once you understand what's possible and what's available, your thought process literally completely shifts. And a few tools that I'm using now to keep ourselves organized, we have a lot of things connecting to each other. So they're either going to be connected by Zapier, or autonomous agents. And a lot of the things now, you want them connecting to each other because just by the pure connectivity of, let's say we have Trello, we have Slack, we're also using Team GPT. So Team GPT is a big one that I think is quite important because we're already starting our own team within the OpenAI system. And then you can take those different, let's say, assistants, and I like to call them avatars. In action, they would be called agents. You can then take these agents and these assistants, and different people in the team can use them as co-pilots, or they can use them as actual systems. For example, one of our EAs out of the Philippines, you would think that she's one of the best copywriters out there. Why is that? It's because we created a custom GPT with the best copywriting skill sets, and then the templates and how I speak. So a lot of the stuff that you see come out in the collective, if it's written by me and it's something important, there's always just human. It's just myself. And usually maybe I'll get an idea for a title. But when it comes to some of the automations, our academies, our vortexes, things that we do, you might think it's me, but realistically it's our EA that she's using a custom GPT that was created just for that. So what we're doing is getting this whole entire ecosystem speaking to each other as fast as possible, and then also feeding information to all the other areas of the business. And that's very beneficial, but I believe Team GPT is going to be a more full out CRM that's doing way more, and that's why we're putting a lot of time and effort into building that back end with all these assistants / employees.
So it sounds like this has saved you a lot of time and a lot of money. But on the flip side, how much do you spend per month on technology?
Funny enough, at the height of one of our e-commerce companies, and maybe some of it was automation and different tech, I mean, we were probably spending over $100,000 a month on the tech stack, and probably up to $150,000 back then. Now our tech stack probably is running us about, I would say, maybe $1,200 a month to $1,400 a month. So theoretically, it's gone down. And this is exactly what I talk about, where this is the race to zero. So there is a race to zero where you can figure out so many of these different components that are not that expensive, which is crazy. How is it now that the tech stack that we have now probably functions in a better methodology? And maybe I'm off, maybe it's a little bit, a few $100s more, but it's still probably under $2,000. When I was spending $100,000 a month at one point in time, okay? Because the race to zero will make information and all these different systems so cheap that anyone could build them. So if anyone could build these systems, and then you can literally copy, let's just say, some of the biggest platforms to your own use, why do you actually need these platforms for? Right? People don't realize we're going into a brand new makeup, and that's where I tell people that you have to think differently, because I see people, whenever I meet people, and let's say we're doing an AI enhancement, I find out that they're spending money on something insane. And I'm like, what are you doing? So it's like the old archaic world still exists and most people still participate, but there's a brand new world that you don't have to do those things. And if you figure that out, not only will you be leaner, you'll be cheaper, but you'll be faster and more efficient. And that's the new world that we're going into. That's quite exciting.
Yes, I've heard of these trends. They say the software as a service companies, tech SaaS companies, are soon to be extinct. Do you think that's true?
I think that the old, very expensive SaaS are in big trouble. And I think that we're going to get to a point in time where I'll be renting out services that'll be like $5, $2, $3. It won't be that expensive. And it's already happening. Like I'm seeing it in real time from the 6 figures a month to slightly over 4 figures. How is that now? It's completely shifting the way we do stuff. So SaaS companies, I believe, will be very important. And I call those, a lot of these will be wrappers that are on top of the major models like OpenAI, Anthropic, DeepSeek, one that everyone's talking about right now, is that you'll be able to create these little thin wrappers on top that have a really good use. And the better your use is, and you get the users, I've also seen that even so much so communities, a lot of people are doing them at cheaper rates, and then they just have much more people within it. I think Andrew Tate's community or something like that, whether people like him or not, doesn't matter. It's like $49.
Yeah.
But he has 200, 300,000 members inside of it.
Yeah.
So why would you go to someone that is charging $1,000 a month, $500 a month when you have one like his? Now, it's not going to be as personalized, but you'll have the availability to really good information and really good things at hardly any money. If anything, nothing. And then what they're going to do is they'll probably be feeding off your data, like we saw the big social networks do. So it was never free. You thought it was free, but they were using your data. Now in the Web3 world, you can now use your data, and then maybe there's different ways that you could get paid for your observation. There's platforms like Brave that they'll pay you just to be on the platforms. Yeah.
I've seen a lot of trends in companies where they are building in an AI team within larger corporations, where they're building their own team company solutions rather than paying larger enterprises for their tools on a monthly or annual basis. So I think that's really smart. What other trends do you see? I know that you're always saying that soon information knowledge will be $0. And I'm curious because it's almost like when you're going in to learn these tools, you're thinking to yourself, am I going to learn something that's not going to be around tomorrow or needed tomorrow? So I want to know any advice you have for someone who's going in, and also any trends that you see coming through.
So first and foremost, people have to completely shift and see clearly how fast everything's going to come.
Yep.
So if we could see things in exponential fashion, and one of the things that I really like to look at, and I do this during my presentations, there's the 5 steps of what OpenAI is doing. That's a great way because they're doing it. They're at the forefront. Even though DeepSeek just came in and took them out, as many would say, they quickly went and launched a few different of their products that were sitting in the background, and then they were better than DeepSeek, right? So they're still ahead of everyone, and they probably have even better tech behind that. And one of the things that they talk about is the 5 stages. So stage number 1 was ChatGPT. So basically, ChatGPT itself was these chatbots that are very human-like, right? Boom,
Yep.
November 2022. Second one was the reasoning model, which that was about 4 or 5 months ago, where it now surpasses human intelligence in the type of reasoning that it could reason better than a human. Not only is it better than a human, it's actually past, in some cases, PhD levels. So people don't realize we're now at 120, 140 IQ. Soon we're going to be at 500 to 1,000 IQ. They're already getting to the point they can't even understand what these AIs are saying. They're making up their own languages. They were doing this back like 6 years ago. If people remember what happened with Facebook, they had their AIs talking in another language. They started doing that again as of recently.
Whoa.
So it's like you don't know what's happening. We're getting into uncharted territory. Okay, so reasoning is number 2. What I'm excited about this year, this is one of the big trends, is going to be autonomous. Everyone calls it AI agents. There's a difference. Autonomous AI agents, which we have operator. Right now, one of the things I heard Emad Mostaque say, and I love when he says it, is that it's the worst that it will ever be. So some of these are a little clunky right now, but very quickly they're going to get really good. And autonomous agents, if you have anyone doing anything digital and you're not a creative thinker, just having a conversation with one of my friends, where it's if you can't be intuitive, can't be a critical thinker, and be audacious and take initiative within a company, why do we need you? You will not be needed. So that's another way of thinking about it too, because if you just do tasks, I'd rather have an AI that is going to be 24/7, way cheaper, PhD level. They're going to do the same exact thing. So if you can't critically think yourself, guess what? You're not going to be there. So that's one of the biggest trends is going to be the reshifting of the economic model, because people have to think differently. And if you haven't thought for yourself, you're in really big trouble because you'll be replaced in a millisecond.
Yeah, what's going to really set you apart is your ability to think creatively, emotional intelligence. And I think it's really important right now to be doing a SWOT analysis of you against AI. Marketing was one of the first to be taken over by AI. That's why a lot of marketing directors are going into it and learning it, myself included, because we see, oh goodness, a lot that we do can be taken over by these assistants and agents. I've been diving really into what is going to set apart my businesses from AI. So bringing it a little bit back to you, what do you feel like is your unique intrinsic value when it comes to everything that you're doing in AI?
If I had to say what unique capability I have versus others is I'm usually seeing things way before others. I did it with Bitcoin. I did it with NFT. I was talking about NFTs probably back in 2017 and 18 on stages. Mm-hmm. I talked about Bitcoin publicly that anyone could go and see 2013. And I was talking about it before that, but just publicly on Facebook, and everyone made fun of me. So I'm able to see these trends way before everyone else. Mm-hmm. Secondly, would be distilling very complex ideas and formulations and making them simple for people to understand. Though I can say I'm a technologist, I'm not a developer. I'm not an AI creator, but I'm definitely a translator. So I can translate it and I can see what's happening. So a lot of the things that I was talking about, we've had a lot of people that were interested in getting in, and then a year later they're like, whoa, what Jonathan actually said is actually coming true now. Yeah. I've done that over and over again. It just happens now it's going to be AI. And now people are like, oh, shoot, yeah, now I get what you were saying. And I say things for a certain reason, and I think that would be something that I do quite differently. And then secondly is just seeing, I would call them the growth hacks and the loopholes. As a time hacker, just being able to find these loopholes, these growth hacks, you are just not moving. Back in the days, it gave you a double of an advantage or 3x an advantage. Now we're talking about 10, 20, 50x. So the world is no longer linear and it's very exponential. Those people tapping into this space, and especially in the next couple of years, because the disparity I talked about, I made that chart 2 years ago now, is getting bigger and bigger, and the disparity between those that know and those that don't, even bigger. I was overseas and I thought people in the United States were behind. Around the world, they're way behind. They have no idea. A lot of them are not even using any of these AIs, maybe just to do some translation. So I'm thinking to myself, I don't even know how some of these people will be able to compete. And I thought more of the world would be taking it on, and they haven't. I just want to be a person that can inspire people, show them the way, and no longer teach them the skill sets, but show them where we're going, how fast it's going to happen, and how to prepare.
That's why I love everything that you're a part of and your community at the Collective, because you're the sum of the people that you're around, and I just love learning from you. I want to bring it back to personal, because we haven't really talked very much about how we use AI personally. I'm curious to hear how you use it. Personally, some of the ways I've used AI, I do a lot of visiting biohacking conferences and things of that nature, holistic doctor testing. And I found it really helpful to upload these documents into AI and for them to, first of all, just read it to me in layman's terms. There's a lot of times I ask AI to speak to me like a third grader, hop tip, and also copy for marketing at a third grade reading level. But back to the documents, I have them recommend eating, nutrition, give me recipes, things that I could benefit from that are natural. It knows enough about me that I like to have natural recommendations. It's really interesting that it's starting to get to know me on a personal level. And some really fun prompts that you can do are to ask your chatbots what they think about you. I can share with my audience, if you guys want to reach out to me personally, some really fun prompts to do that. I'm pretty amazed when you ask it, tell me what you know about me or things of that nature, what it gives back. Very interesting. That is a really good example of how I've used it personally. I've been playing around with my natal charts. If you know anything about me, I'm very much into astrology and human design, Enneagram, gene keys. These are all really fascinating topics to me. And if you know your birth data, I know some people don't have those details, but I fortunately enough do. I upload all of that into my chat GPT as well. And then I create custom GPTs. And so it's like having a consultant in my back pocket. It's like having a life coach in my back pocket. It's like having a health coach in my back pocket. So those are a couple ways I use it personally. And how do you use it? Do you use it for your fitness regimen, or have you been able to connect any of your personal documents to it? Do you trust it enough to do that?
Yeah, that's a great question, because sometimes I'll display it in our workshops that I've created 100 of my own GPTs, let alone, I don't know, maybe a couple hundred for other people. And a lot of them are actually for my personal use. Funny enough, that's probably one of the reasons that we get along. I love the spiritual side of stuff, and I love numerology. I like the astrology stuff. I used to not believe in it at all until I had a dear friend of mine, Danielle Page. She predicted things that were so it just did not make sense how good she predicted events that happened in my life. And then I figured out JP Morgan had said, you know, what separates a millionaire from a billionaire? The billionaire knows astrology or has an astrologist by their side. So I actually created one that is based on gematria, numerology, and astrology, and it's called the Oracle of Numbers. And I actually use that, believe it or not, for a lot of the dates that I do stuff. Like last year, 2 of the most important dates of astrological events happened during our masterminds and the events that we did. So people don't realize that I actually use those for certain things, and some of the most prestigious people, they use them for all kinds of events that happen. I've done that. I've also done, instead of, which I should have purchased at the time, I was a tenant, I was having some issues and disagreements. I went and uploaded the entire rule list of South Florida, and I was able to talk, instead of getting a lawyer for tenant stuff, boom, I was able to use my GPT that I had created in that. Legal stuff, you know, workout regimens, all kinds of different things I've added to a component. And one of my favorite, it's like a wizard note taker that I've created. So some of my best ideas have gone into this GPT, and then it structures ideas in the most beneficial, psychological, and behavior ways that outlines your idea pristinely just by putting them in there. I'm able to do all kinds of different things and for fun, I'll just put stuff like get a podcast. And one of the things I do like to do, and I was just creating with my nephew, we're creating a commercial. We made images of a gentleman that was, it kind of looked like a, not steampunk, but Mad Max futuristic style. We use an app called Hailu, and it's a Mini Max optimized version, which right now to me is way better than Sora, way better than all the other ones. I posted it in our group actually.
Cool.
And then from there, we went and created the music through Suno, and we created a rap song. We created a steampunk Viking song with a real song singing and everything. And we were able to create an entire mini commercial, and I did it with my 10-year-old nephew. You know what I mean? He was able, it was actually a lot of his creativity that went into it. So on the personal side, even though that could be considered business, we did that for fun. And that was quite fun using those apps. And Suno honestly blew me away. And I have a song that is just so freaking good, and the beats are amazing. And we created it from scratch, which I think is better than a lot of the songs that are out there right now.
That's so fun. I love that you're using it with your family, and kids are so easy to adapt this technology as well. Okay, I would also love to know more about you and using AI. Tell me about a time where it was the most exciting use case for you to date of what you've been able to use with AI.
All right, so the most exciting use case thus far, I think it was just the excitement. I already knew, I think it was November of 2023 when GPTs came out. I went kind of bonkers and wild, creating all kinds of GPTs. Even at the time, some of the best GPTs in big companies. People did not know that you could go and find out what their instructions were. I went and I started creating a bunch of GPTs, and I created a Dr. DeMartini one, a Jordan Peterson one. You know what's weird? Elon Musk, they wouldn't let me create. That was the only one they wouldn't let me create or make it public.
Interesting.
Remember, what's the problem with OpenAI and Elon Musk? So I think the biggest use case, or the more revolutionary time, was when these GPTs came out, these custom GPTs, and it gave me the ability to just create anything. And here's the thing. There's a reason I have 100 and something of these is because instead of going and just chatting with Claude, chatting with OpenAIs, whatever, I actually go and I create a custom version right away, and it's becoming easier to do it. It's almost second nature. And I think that realization, or that time when these GPTs came out, and I thought actually we were going to be able to sell these and have people doing it a lot faster. I think that time is still coming. Maybe I was just way too early, but I believe there's a moment in time. But the reason it was so revolutionary and why I was so excited about it was because I'm actually downloading my knowledge, my skill sets, what I know, the type of person that I am. I'm obviously very biased that I think I do things the best. And imagine once I have 100, 200, 300, these are all of my recollections, all my best practices, and one day they're probably going to come together and be like a master, and it'll be very similar to what my consciousness or my knowledge base is. And now that's going to be just like in Iron Man, the movie Iron Man with Jarvis.
Cool.
And how Tony Stark is creating all this crazy stuff.
Yeah.
We're very close to having at least that type of technology. Wow. Now, all the other functions all around it, that's a little bit different because that's robotics. But being able to have a super smart AI being your guide, your support system, your business partner, your employee, your assistant, and everything like that is right there. And I'm downloading my consciousness and knowledge into the AI so that when that time comes, I'm going to be ready.
On the flip side, what about an oh crap moment? Have you ever had a time where AI, something went very unexpectedly?
I think you just have to be careful because I'm not going to say it happened to me. I'm not going to mention any names because it was very controversial. But there was a person that had one of these AIs on a call with them, and they were on a call with someone else. They stayed on the call. They were talking crap about someone else.
Oh, no.
And that other someone else that knows the other person, they got to hear the whole thing. So like that was a moment in time where someone really messed up. And because of that, probably life-changing event because now they're known as the person that talks a lot of crap behind the closed doors to a high degree. You have to be so careful nowadays that it can do that. And more of my oh crap now, they're getting so smart. These AIs are getting to a point of no return and they're open source. We just saw what happened with DeepSeek. You can actually go take that as much as they want to ban it. You can't even ban it because it's open source. So I could theoretically go take it on a local device right now.
Yeah.
So it's like we keep building and now the race is getting even more, let's just say crazy / aggressive because they all want to be first and their funding depends on it. Their investors, their board of advisors, they're all keen on making sure that you're first. All your money is staked on it. So I think the safety is going out the window and then they're just trying to reach it. So the oh crap moment, I think there is going to be a black swan. Most likely this year, if not, 100% is going to happen by next year. And I'm talking about black swan where something we're going to be like, oh, shoot, this is really serious. And something is happening. And there's a good chance that there's nothing stopping it.
Okay. I don't think I've had any oh crap moments. I've had some people call me out for using ChatGPT and then texting with it. But now,
I can always tell
there's an app for that. So funny. So you've told us a lot about your day-to-day using AI, and it seems like you're really taking advantage with these tools and you're very forward-thinking. I would like to know if you were able to wave a magic wand and create a product, a tool, or a solution that isn't there yet, other than just being a real complete clone of yourself. What would that be?
I definitely, and we're, to a certain extent, we're working towards that ourselves because I do believe that we're living in a very magical age where almost anything is possible and anything will be possible. But being able to have an AI that can create things in the like image that I think about it, the design, the structure, and being able to do it in no time, I know that moment in time is coming, but if I could wave a wand and do that, I'd just be so creative because I already am a person that loves to create value out of nothing. I want to create revolutionary technology for the world. I also believe that the world is highly needing conscious leadership because look at the leadership that's in the world today and the people, what they're doing, all the things that are being uncovered finally because of technology. With all that being said, if I was able to create anything I want in the image that I want without anyone else. Don't get me wrong, I love to work with other people, but I would like to be able to create these things. That would be the magic wand moment where I'm like, wow, I can now create, and that gives me the ability to create a multitude of companies, multitude of income streams, and revolutionary technology that's going to take humanity in the proper direction. and make sure that we're going to have a renaissance, thriving world, which I would love to see.
Well, you've got me beat on the tool that you want to create. I think I need to think way more big picture. So you want to hear?
I still want to hear though. Like, don't change it now. Don't change it now.
So I am someone that has a million screenshots on their iPhone. I don't know if you do this.
100% I do.
Oh my goodness. And so please, someone create an app to organize my screenshots. I want to know what is just an article to read later. What are photos I need organized? What should be deleted? Like really mind map. Oh, these are recipes. This is decor. Please, someone. I know that you can already search by keyword, but I need the next level. I need someone to be able to completely organize my screenshots. I think I have like 4,000 in there by now, maybe even more.
I think first and foremost, I think that's genius. And actually, me and Umer were talking about after our events, we do a really bad job of sending the pictures to people. And sometimes I was like, why don't we send every single person their pictures?
Yes.
I was like, dude, this is such a cool app. Like, why has no one? I'm like, someone's had to have created this, and we're looking, we couldn't find it. So we were like, okay, how do we create this app where it automatically finds the person, knows where they're from, and boom, we can send them the pictures directly. I thought that was cool. And now thinking about the screenshot, I am one of those people, and I take a ton of screenshots of all kinds of things, and I would love one that can actually organize it.
Yes, I had this idea for weddings. So when I get married one day, I want to have a phone-free wedding, and I want the photographer and the videographers to take care of everything. And how cool would it be to have facial recognition so you could send someone all the photos, but be able to categorize that these are the ones that you're on based on facial recognition. Right. How cool and tailorized is that?
That would be amazing.
I have ideas like this every day, and this is the one thing that really excites me about AI, because we can just create apps so much easier now in that way.
Oh, yeah.
With that said, what would you like to leave my audience with? One key factor or specific insight and takeaway from today?
First and foremost, that you're doing an amazing job, and I love the whole synopsis and why you're doing this, and I think people need to subscribe, like and subscribe. One thing that everyone can take from this is artificial intelligence is going to be highly impactful to a degree that humanity has never seen anything like this. Now, it could be for good and it could be for bad. But how can you take this technology, not be overburdened by it? It's very beneficial in so many different ways. But how can you take this technology and give value to the world, make the world a better place, and then simultaneously put yourself in a position of great power to be extra creative, to go after your purpose and values much more, and it's going to be a brand new world that we can create. We don't have to sit on the sidelines, and starting by even just watching this podcast and the upcoming ones, I think is a great place to start, because there's amazing things happening in the world, and to me, this is a new renaissance time, and I'm excited to participate.
It's a new AI renaissance indeed. And I can't thank you enough for being my first guest. I couldn't think of someone more perfect for really kicking off this initiative to expand people on AI and get them to use these tools. It was really interesting getting a little look under the hood of how you work day to day. I'm going to have bigger picture thinking when it comes to apps now, but I like that you enjoyed my ideas as well. Thank you so much for your time. And if there's anything that you want to share about listeners, how they can learn more about you, how they can follow you, what's the best place to connect?
I tell a lot of people one of the great places that you can follow the collective or myself on Instagram. I happen to go a lot more there now, which is Rain in the Making with periods in between, or The Collective AI with periods in between, or go to our website, thecollective.xyz. Those are great places that people can learn more about our endeavors and how you came in and absolutely doing amazing. I love that you're actually one of the people that shares lots of value within the group, and you're just one that has taken it on, and it's exciting to see people grow and expand, not just in the business endeavors, but the way that they see the world. And like now seeing you in this podcast, it's so exciting, and I'm super excited to see where this goes.
Amazing. Thank you so much, Jonathan. I appreciate your time.
I appreciate it.
Wow, what a conversation with Jonathan. I hope today's episode opened your mind to what's possible with AI. Do you have a cool use case on how you're using AI and want to share it? DM me. I'd love to hear more and feature you on my next podcast. Until next time, here's to working smarter, not harder. See you on the next episode of How I AI. This episode was made possible in partnership with the Collective AI, a community designed to help entrepreneurs, creators, and professionals seamlessly integrate AI into their workflows. One of the biggest game changers in my own AI journey was joining this space. It's where I learned, connected, and truly enhanced my understanding of what's possible with AI. And the best part, they offer multiple membership levels to meet you where you are. Whether you want to DIY your AI learning or work with a personalized AI consultant for your business, the Collective has you covered. Learn more and sign up using my exclusive link in the show notes.